reminded myself why I don't paint anymore. Because of the prices. Now I would like these right here for solid background use with what I'm trying to do, or with what I'm doing and what I started last night. But of course, now trying to get these to add up. Well, you know, they got canvases for sale. And I bought these right here, the 7-pack, for like that price right there. And what I would like to try to get is this, but that's expensive as all hell, almost $60 worth. And what I had to settle for were these cheap, low quality paints right here. Now, they're not wet paints, and I just wanted solid background use, but lucky for me, you know, as an artist, you know, you got to find different creative ways to work with things. And you know, I don't use just regular paints. I actually use pens, pencils, gel pens, color pencils, Blue Hills markers that are animated markers, paintbrush markers, crayons, and believe it or not, makeup. And I blend all that in and it comes out good. Now I'm going to have to show you guys a video of my paintings that I have done after I get these new ones finished. But I'm going to show you guys real reason why I actually stopped doing paint in the first place. Because you have these digital paintings now, digital art that I do not support, because to me it's fake art. And because of places like Hobby Lobby that are selling fake art that can be done in 5 minutes, that's photoshopped or airbrush photoshopped and then printed on canvases, you know, when they sell them. Now, somebody like me or somebody else that does art can do the same thing like this on a canvas and have it be a bit authentic, because you're going to see a bit more texture. You're actually going to see a bit more detail rather than just a photo, which is meant to have the HD quality, but not the texture, not the brush work. And I don't see the other one anywhere. Oh, right there. You know, you don't see the other, you know, like something like this. But, you know, this is obviously you know, you feel the texture, you see the paint, stuff like that. You know, people would appreciate, but because times have changed and because real art is dead, you know, we're selling, you know, canvases like these with things already printed on them, which again I just don't appreciate, I don't support, because I take offense to this, me as an artist. Like if I take something like this or something like that, or like this Iron Man, I can do the same thing, but it's gonna have more authenticity like this and more of appreciation with texture and that shade of detail. Like I said, these were made like this to already have that HD quality. So stuff like that really I just can't get down with, you know. But I reminded myself, you know, again, why I just don't do painting as much is because of what I showed y'all. But after I get done with my new paintings, I'm gonna grab the videos that I have done and put them together. But yeah, and of course, you know, that's what kind of stuff you get when you're at Hobby Lobby. But if you do digital painting, you know, digital art, I mean, do you, but I can't support it. Artists as well. One thing that really changed today that makes real art dead is I don't know the word for it, and maybe there's not a word, but let me try to explain it. As an artist, you know, I do sketch work. You know, I always began out doing sketch work before I got into music, before I started doing jewelry and clothing. Now, a good majority of those things, you know, I don't do as much anymore because, well, they're expensive. Plus, here in the U.S., none of that stuff has value. either. So, began out, anybody that, of course, I was born in the way early 90s. Like, I mean, really goddamn early 90s at that. Then in the mid 90s, you had anime shows like Gundam and Dragon Ball Z, for example. And anybody that grew up watching those shows, we used to draw Gundams and go up against each other with them, who made the most creative Gundam. And then, of course, started drawing Dragon Ball characters. And from there, moved on to comic book characters, which were Batman and Spider-Man, Superman. And then from there, just started really developing, trying to develop the skill, figuring out, okay, which way do you want to do art, as a sketch artist, or as an animator, because it's always best to have your own style. And a lot of people think, well, there's a rule to art, or you got to do it this in particular way. You got to have these type of materials to do this, whatever it may be, whether if it's a sketch or painting. And one thing about that ain't true. They call art for a reason, because art is supposed to be creativity, supposed to be, I guess, like a sense of freedom. And you don't need to go out and spend $100s on a lot of the fancier pencils, sharpeners, paper. You don't have to go out there and buy, the expensive animated markers, which are Blue Hill markers. Now, I like Blue Hill markers, but those are expensive, and Hobby Lobby rarely gets those. And the packs that they get that are like the medium, small, expensive packs for certain colors that people use the most, yeah, that's going to run you about $60. And whenever I have extra money, I always stock up on a lot of art stuff. I make sure I do, because I don't know when the mood is going to hit me to want to do art. I don't know when it's going to hit, but I like to make sure I keep stock. You don't always have to go out and buy the expensive paints, even though they're nice. You don't have to go out there and buy the expensive brushes either. And me, as an artist, I'd like something that has value, meaning, and more authenticity, that can bring enjoyment, rather than something that's already been made as an HD photo and then printed on a canvas. And again, that's the problem. People don't like anything with authenticity, value, meaning, that shows texture, detail, and design, and something that used to be appreciated, because now people just want to buy the fake shit that I showed you guys in the store. People will see something that's made by somebody, like, that's nice, but, it's not as nice as what you can get in the stores. The shit that you get in the stores is made by machines. That ain't made by human hands. You gotta know that. Same thing with going into, jewelry. How much people actually support handcraft jewelry? Sometimes I may buy my jewelry, which I haven't bought any jewelry in such a long time, because I have almost just about every piece of jewelry that I have or used to have. So much to the point I gave some away because I just didn't wear them. And I still got a damn shitload of jewelry, It's like clay chains. I used to make the clay chains, but I stopped really making those. Now, I stopped making those, for several reasons. One, I couldn't find baking clay. Now, baking clay would have been faster for me to use. but I couldn't find it. I don't know what baking clay would look like. I don't mess with clay like that. So I'd use air dry clay, which would take me almost 2 months for that clay to harden. And it used to be cheap, $25 for clay. Well, it went up to about $55 plus tax, would have been about $60. And then trying to buy beads or chains at times, got expensive, but trying to find actual thread for beads, like beading string. I never saw beading string before, so I wouldn't know what to look for with that. So I had to use other materials that were either a good or a bad idea. Now, fishing string would work, but it's kind of hard to really measure out fishing string, really, when doing that. Then you had the glitter paints. Like, you had the glitter paints, and you had the glitter separate that I would use as well. That shit adds up, so it got too expensive. I found myself almost spending $200. Also going in on that, the glitter that was being used and the paints for that, my skin broke out in rashes because of that. So my skin was allergic to the materials. That's why I stopped doing that. Then I started making the jewelry stuff that was put together that you could make and snap on and things out of that nature. But and I came up with some really creative, cool stuff, just with that alone. With the other metal, plastic type of jewelry that you can put your own stuff onto it, right? Again, it's already made, but you're putting your own detail on it and your own spin and making it into really what you want. I stopped doing that because, well, again, not only did it get a bit expensive, but some people, liked it and others just did not admire it. And then you had those like, man, make me something, but make it for free. Make it for free? Motherfucker, I gave you the cheapest price, if not the most reasonable price for this shit. You ain't gonna get something for free. I'm an artist. Which also goes into the thing, trying to make it as an artist in this world. When something that's done by hand, again, it's not appreciated because, you spend a lot of money with the materials and you want to make the best possible art piece possible, regardless if it's a painting or jewelry, right? Hell, sometimes even clothes, I've been known to make my own clothes, or I used to, that got expensive. But I tried to do those things in terms of sketching, painting, making jewelry and clothing to try to do as a living to make money from. But those things here in America, they don't have value and they're not appreciated. Because we rather have something that's done by a machine and sold for us for like a lot of damn money, when you can get something, again, that has value, meaning, texture, detail, something that's done by hand, something that could be appreciated, and it's not. And trying to make it as doing those things, it cannot be done. It's too difficult. Because people either like something and they're going to want it for absolutely nothing because they're going to think you're bullshit. And the problem with that is, with all that being said, is why I stopped, doing paintings. Why I stopped doing jewelry. Why I stopped doing clothing. I do sketches, but I only do that for myself and then I pack them away. Like, I don't do them for people or for public anymore because of what I just explained. Also, I feel not appreciated for the work that I do. It's like with this year, I'm switching, of course, this year is going to be my last year of music. I want to try to move on to something else because in August it would be 9 years for me. Now, my music, does better than most people's locally. I don't make money off it. I don't. One place is for free, other places like for $5 plus tax, but I'm not getting paid off that. Because they don't have the system to put barcodes on CDs or put the CDs in their system. So I'm pretty much, losing money, but I know there is an audience out there. So, there's that, but it's like with digital art as well. Like I do my own photos. I do my own editing work. I don't have no one else to do it but me. And I guess you'd call it Photoshop. I do my own Photoshop work. And what surprises me, a lot of these self-portraits that you guys see that are advertised for these shows, and there's several of them that come to mind, Gotham and Walking Dead, for example, right? You see these self-portraits of the characters that are going into the next season with their new looks. Now, you would think that they took a photo of those people, of the actors, say like, hey man, come in for this promo photo shoot for a self-portrait piece. And believe it or not, it's not them. A lot of that stuff is done off airbrushed Photoshop completely. And that's how it's done. Like, you mean to tell me that they ain't gonna have the actors come in, do their self-portrait photo, then touch up the photos to make them look like the way they look, so they run them through, airbrush Photoshop? So that right there on its own, even when it comes to movies, like you see a lot of the, again, headshots or from the head and chest shots that you guys see from like a lot of these, it doesn't matter, like it could be from a horror film, it can be from the action movies, comic book movies. Like those are not the actual characters we took in taking their pictures for that. No, a lot of it's airbrushed Photoshop. And those that do that kind of work, along with, Photoshop in general, those that reach out to people that do Photoshop, I'm finna go ahead and spill the beans, man. I'm gonna save you guys some money. It's easy enough where anybody can do it. I've been known to do it sometimes on my laptop or off the phone, depending on where I'm at. And it takes no more than 5 minutes to do. 5 minutes. And the reason why you're getting charged a lot of money from these other people that do it is because they want to take as much money from you as possible, because they want to drag out their time and your time when it takes no more than 5 minutes to do. And I've done some work for a little bit of people, but those certain people ain't paid me. And I gave them the cheapest price, $5. That's it. So a lot of work that most of you guys see floating around when it comes to doing that kind of advertisements for things, I have done. Now, I don't say nothing, but those that post, they know. But it goes to show, as an artist in this world in America, very, very unappreciated, to the point over across seas. All the things that I explained, they appreciate things that are done by hand, things that have texture, detail, things that were done by time, things that can mean things that has value, and things that can mean something to somebody that buys it, because they like the authenticity. They ain't gonna go for none of that machine shop shit. It don't fly like that. And that's why I wish I was over across seas, because I can post up down into like a square or on like a sales market sidewalk, get my own table, my own venue tent, sell my music, sell my jewelry that I make, sell the clothing that I used to make, sell sketches and painting that I used to make, and just make a living off that. Plus they hire people that actually do woodwork. Because again, over across seas, things that are done by hand, by actual artists, things that took time, things that took, a bit of money to do, things that actually have authenticity, value, texture, detail, and care to them, that stuff is appreciated over across seas. And people over across seas, make their money like that. Forget getting a regular job. No, if you have a talent, they're going to use that talent over across seas. The best example, a lot of these international artists are here in America that we listen to now. Even back then, what happened if I told you guys that, believe it, international artists here from America, they don't get paid American money. They don't get appreciated for their work here in America, because they don't make nothing off what they do with digital sales, physical sales, or shows here in America. No. From the shows they do here in America at these little clubs, $3,000 a night. Right? That's not a lot of money. The American profit off digital sales, $2,015. That ain't a lot of money. That's all. It's not. Oh, well, before I get into that, sometimes physical sales, they only see $15,000, $2,000. Ain't a lot of money. Over across seas, they make more of what they do from their work off physical, digital, and show sales from different currency of money. And that's why they come back with bigger monies of stacks that you guys see on the Instagram posts when they're over across seas, because they get paid more. Now that money transferred over to American money through their bank account, yeah, they're gonna count by pounds. So you're looking at least $10,000, $25,000 in American money from that transferred. And that right there makes up for all their physical and digital and show sales alone. Same thing with actors. A lot of their money, comes from over across seas. Plus a lot of their businesses that they have outside of acting, because you're not always going to get the role, or the next role, I should say, in movies all the time. That's why I'm saying being an artist in every sense of the word here in America, very underappreciated. And the people that like the work that we do, either say, okay, it's nice, but it's not HD quality, or I like the way it sounds, but I'd rather have it digital, or, well, I like the clothes that you make, but it's not done by machines. Or I like this type of woodwork, but it's not done by machines. And that's why I try to keep real artwork alive, because just the error and the person I am and how I was brought up with art. So anybody that tries to say something different, 1, you're stupid. 2, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. 3, you're uneducated. And 4, you don't have experiences in those fields and the experiences of actually trying to go out there and make a living from that. Because art, again, is unappreciated. And I am doing 7 new paintings because I ain't done it in a long time, because I'm doing it for myself. So the question is, what would you rather have? Would you rather have something that was done by human hands, that took the time to make, the money to do, that was spent for the materials, have the best quality possible, the texture and detail of something that has, again, authenticity and value, and something that you could take pride in and hang it up and talk about? Or would you rather go out and spend a whole lot of damn money on something that was already photoshopped, digitized, HD quality, and then printed on a canvas, like you guys seen in the first beginning of this video? So, me, again, as an artist, I take it to heart, and I take it very, very seriously, and I do get pissy about it. I have every right. It's just like with music. I believe in doing projects. I believe in albums. I believe in full mixtapes. I don't believe in doing singles. I hate that shit. I believe in actually telling a story and being a lyricist, not being a fucking over exaggerated making up stories of making bullshit music like trap music that sounds like shit. Even though a good majority of these artists, and I'm not gonna name names, but a good majority of these artists weren't drug dealers. They weren't hustling anything. They were all crackheads, pump faking. And there's a reason why my shit does good, man. Better than anybody else's. And again, I take music to heart. I take it seriously, just like the shit that I named, from doing jewelry, clothing, sketches, and painting, to heart. I do. not really too much more I can say, but you know, gotta find some other things. And again, if you're so, here are some poster board paintings I've done right there. These two are of Prince. There's this one right here, some Dragon Ball. I've been trying to really get back into some painting because I haven't done it in such a long time. Of course, this one's inspired by the Death of Batman comic or novel. Of course, you got Thug Bob right there. Just something random that I've done right here. You know, and I haven't painted in quite a long time. I got some new paintings I've been working on. I got 2 more to go, and I will show those. And I got some old ones I did several years back that I'm going to touch up on. So all these videos are going to be put together as one. So this is just the first half. Now this right here is Optimus Prime. So yeah, some poster board paintings. And you guys are going to see some new ones and then touch up of some old ones that I've done. Here are some older ones that are about, see, I did them in 2015, so that'd be 15, 16, 17, 18. About 5 years ago. About 5 years old. And these were the bigger ones. And I'm going to go through pretty much each of them. Now, these were considered probably the first canvas that I have done right here. And it's not the one I really like the most because I was just going for straight paint until I could figure out, you know, my own style, my own technique of how I would want to do a painting. And this one, you know, is my not one of my favorites. And if anything, I went back and touched up most of these a while ago. So I went back, tried to touch up Goku skin a bit with some makeup. Got some other paint, get that orange, a mixture of red to kind of pop, and try to get some decent blue, and you know, go over it. And the type of paints I've actually done with these, something I would just not consider, and but it was the only paints that I had at the time, which was t-shirt paints, and it just didn't, you know, quite work as well like I thought it would do. And I also went back and retouched up the eyebrows and the eye, and of course the hair thing was like glitter paint that you would see that comes in a bottle. So I'm going to leave that alone. If anything, that's actually my favorite part of that. This was supposed to be Batman. I actually went back and touched up that with some decent regular paint, as much as I could, and touched it up. Letting it settle in and see what it would look like after a few months to a couple of years, and added this green paint background with what I use. Now, you know, it's just cheap, dry water paint, which you just add water to, things of that nature. The second one that I did was this Bob Marley line right here, which is tolerable. You know, it's okay. Now I semi-like it. Again, I used the same type of paints and added this one utensil thing I got to add those stripes on there. Not too much I can do. It's not one I don't think that can really be touched up because it has been hanging on the wall. And of course, you know, you got dust on those and trying to keep them clean. Some I just don't know how to do, or at least I try. But that one is tolerable until I started doing these ones right here, which this one was the last one I actually did. But I'll go a bit into that after I go to this third painting I did. Now this right there, like I said, I went back and tried to touch up most of these. So a lot of the background coloring that you see on these three right here are actually new. And I've done this Ed Hardy Skullgirl with the flower and everything. And I said to myself, you know, I'm going to do a painting like I do my sketches. So, as you guys may have seen from one of the videos called, you know, Why I Quit Art, with what I was describing and some of the utensils and those that see my drawings that I do post up on sometimes Instagram or Facebook, right? So, you know, I took some outlining paper, outlined the figure, sketched it out in pencil and pen, and then after that I went over it with the colors I needed with gel pen, right? So those two items, you know, I'm going to count pencil and pen as one thing, gel pens. From there, I went and took some markers, so that was 3. Once I did that, crayon, right? And then going back to highlighter, and then taking a Q-tip and just damping it, you know, with my tongue and everything. And then kind of, you know, not too much drying it out, but just enough to where I was using that damp Q-tip to do the blending and everything. But I'm going to go back for a bit. Before I went to marker, I actually took color pencil after the gel pen. So you can pretty much say color pencil is actually the third tools that I use. Followed up by the markers and then the blending. Once after that, you know, I let it, you know, settle in and everything, and I really like the way, you know, that it came out. And then I said to myself, you know, this is my own unique style of painting that I can do if I ever do painting every once in a blue moon. And then remind you, you know, now 5 years later, I did some other new paintings. Again, I'm just not a whole fan of actually doing canvases like that. You know, it's not really my thing. I'm more of a, you know, a paper type of person. But I chose this, it looks pink, but it's actually like a red. But I actually like the way that pretty much came out to where it looks more like pink than red for this in particular, you know, painting. Then this fourth one right here is what I did, which was my last one, and I did the same thing. So what I did, you know, on one side, you know, after I did the outlining of it, I sketched this part in, and, you know, black and white, as you can see, but, you know, with pen and pencil, and of course blended it in with the Q-tip and everything, and a couple of bit of marker techniques that I learned how to do. So I like the way that looked. And then, of course, on this side, you know, again, black and white, gel pen, color pencil, marker, crayon, and then blended it in right there. And then I added the background, you know, not long ago. It's supposed to be black, but I like the way it kind of came out with this one, more like this ashy, grayish black background right there. The reason why I didn't do that part, because, you know, it is signed by me, and that looks, it's a faded out gold marker, and if I would have went over that, it wouldn't have been able to be seen. So these are kind of my first, no, these are my first 4 canvas paintings that I have done. And if anything, I really like these 2 the most, because these are when I really found my style, you know, of painting. This one is runner-up because it's tolerable, but my mom likes it. And then this one's my least favorite, even though I went back, you know, and touched it up. But, you know, it is what it is, because this was my first one I did, and I was trying to find my way of style of painting. So these are my first 4 canvases that I have truly done in my life. And again, you know, as an artist, with the utensils that I use, and I'm just going to show you guys, like, you guys don't need to go out and spend a lot of money upon the expensive stuff. No, like, I got just regular, you know, Sharpie markers right there, some animated markers that I actually got for like $5, actually, some regular markers, and some, you know, regular color pencils. For one, there's that. Going in on that, some crayons, some more color, some more gel pens right there, some highlighters, and of course some blue hill tip markers, some anime markers, and then kind of some other anime markers, Blue Hills, that are expensive, but they're like really great, and they do last for a good long time. So since I don't do art a lot, like all the time, these last me through God, I don't know how many years, and they still work. About $6 paints right there. This right here is a makeup kit that are eyeshadows, and I also use makeup in my drawings when I use color, and especially with some of the new paintings I work on. So makeup is a really good paint tool to use. Under this, of course, a case of gel pens and some other makeups right there. Of course, you know, some other little, you know, I got some pencils, some pens, some brushes, and some other color pencils. And those are the stuff, you know, that I use with my art when it comes to sketching or even painting. And, you know, it may run a few bucks, but it ain't like going to be breaking the bank or your pockets. You don't need to go out and buy a lot of expensive stuff just to have something good to do. So, yeah, I just wanted to share this one right here. And I got one more canvas to do for the new stuff I've been working on that are 7 canvases that I will be finished with tomorrow, and I will be showing you guys those. So I hope you guys, you know, really enjoy this video once it's done. And I'm out. Okay, so I just got done with these new paintings I've been working on in 7 days. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. So this one I got done with today. It is Kara from Detroit Becoming Human. One of the most best written games that I've played in such a long time. I don't normally say that about a lot of games because I'm not a big gamer, but I know a good game that's well written when I play it, and I really enjoyed this one. And so this is Kara from Detroit Becoming Human. We got Goku Black right here. Then right here we got Michonne / Denai Guerrera, who plays from the Black Panther, The Visitor, Michonne from The Walking Dead. So there's that. Show you guys a bit of detail right there. Here we got Prince, done that one. Right here we got Max from Life is Strange, Part 1. Such a really great game as well. I really enjoyed playing this one. Go down below. We have Michael from the Bad Tour Air, which is my favorite Air and Tour. And then the first one that I did was this Batman one. So these are all the new paintings that I've done in this video, as well as a whole as all the paintings that I have ever done. You know, and I don't do much painting. You know, it's very expensive to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed. So, this is around the second half of the video on why I quit art. And I really want to show what it is that, you know, I do. So, a lot of t-shirts and performance jackets I made are packed away downstairs, put away safe. But this is the only one I have in a frame. I want to say hanging up. I do kind of want to redo this frame later on in the future. Kind of do something a bit more so, I guess you could say different, but probably, you know, really leave it like this as is, try to fix a good majority of it. But that's like a shirt that I have made, airbrushed and everything. And I'm going to show you some other things that I've done as well. So, those that don't know, or those that used to go to my old channel before I shut it down, which was Jazzy Entertainment, then you know I used to make my own jewelry. Reason why I don't make my own jewelry anymore as much as one. I want to talk about the price, because over time it was a decent price, from the clay to the paint to the glitter to getting the parts that I needed. But I say really the main thing was that throughout the time I was doing it, I would receive breakouts and like skin rash from the glitter, and it would just really itch and agitate me. So come to find out, that meant I was allergic to what was made out of this, specifically the glitter itself. And I really, really hated that, because I do great work, even though I continue on doing it. But there had to come to a moment where I was like, you know what, I need to stop, because it's doing harm to my skin. So, you know, hey, what are you going to do? You're going to keep doing what you like, or you're going to sacrifice your health, or you're going to put your health first and stop what you like doing. So, you know, it's really one of those things. So I said, you know what, I can't keep taking these shots, going to the doctors like this, so it's doing a lot of damage to my skin. That's why sometimes my hand is red the way it is, because it's over time, you know, healed damages. One thing that people may not consider that is art. Those that know, you know, yeah, I do music, I do physical copies, I do my own editing work. Now, editing work is an art, but for a lot of people, I'm really going to break the silence on it. So if you go to somebody that does designing, digital design, editing work, it is something that you can really learn to do yourself. It will take some time, but you'll see how easy it is, and then you'll see, oh, it only takes like 5 to 10 minutes to do. Because truth and reality, that's how long it really takes. And the reason why you reach out to somebody that knows how to do it, and they say, okay, well, I charge this, that, and third, is because they want to take up they want to take up as most of the time that they can get from you to get as much money. Because the honest truth is, what I really learned the hard way, and the true reality is that there's really no such thing as money being made to doing this. Because nowadays it gets so easy, you can do it over your phone, and then that's completely it. It doesn't matter if you're doing music or not. So there's really no such thing really as money being made into this. But this is still an art form, because a lot of people don't do their own CDs. If you still do CDs and you're an artist, yeah, you're going to have people that's going to charge you so that much, and you don't need to be doing that. You can just go out, make your own, do how to do the editing work, buy the cases from offline, get some blank CDs, get them printed up at a shop that still does it, and there's a good majority of them that actually still have their programming, specifically Office Max, and that's what I do. And you're going to get a good decent price and a discount depending on how much that you get. But that good decent price and that discount probably ain't going to come right away, not like it did for me, and over time it did. And you know, I get somewhere between 15 maybe 20 things that I want made up, and I get a really great discount, so I'm not paying a lot of money. But this right here on its own is still, you know, an art form, no matter which way you look at it. And yeah, somebody can probably make that argument, but there's no argument there to really make. So from there we go on to something that I meant to show the first time around when I got done with my other sketchbook. I forgot to save it, but it's on my Facebook page. But this one is a new one I'm working on, and this is for my own personal sketches, like always. Something that I want to do with black and white full sketches, and something that I am good at. And throughout this of me being a sketch artist and an artist in general, especially when it comes to paintings that you guys have seen, and then I've talked about that, yeah, it's looked as taboo, something that, oh, okay, well, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing art. So, you know, I'm an artist in every sense of the word. So these are things, you know, that I do. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's longer, but I think it's a topic that really, really needs to be talked about. I miss real art.